With either designation, Your Honor,
okay.
because we didn't review the application. These are concerns that we have that we hope that the SLA will bear in mind as it makes its determination. We certainly don't support the application as made. I think I can fairly say that.
I'm going to mark this as opposition number 5, sir. Again, for the record, Brooklyn Community Board number 8, in my understanding, the jurisdiction does not include the jurisdiction.
That's correct, Your Honor.
However, you are within close proximity.
We're essentially across the street, and when an 18,000 room neighbor moves in across the street, you want to be able to have your voice heard. We respect the fact that we do not have, as you say, jurisdiction, that Barclays Center is in CB2 and CB6 and not in CB8. We did not, and nor were we empowered to review the application. So the comments I'm going to make tonight, the comments we make in our written testimony are just that, comments on the situation rather than on the application.
Did you give Mr. Coomer a copy?
Yeah, Mr. Coomer, absolutely.
Thank you.
Representative Community Board number 2 received.
I'll sit next to him, so I'll give him one later.
But you can give it to him now.
Right.
And your statement, everything you're about to say is contained in this letter?
Yes,
okay,
I will paraphrase the letter.
Be brief and paraphrase it.
Absolutely.
And if you can categorize it again for me at the top.
Concerns about the situation as opposed to comments on the application. We did not have the opportunity to review the application per se. So, however, we feel that the impacts on the quality of life of any neighborhood will be felt most strongly, perhaps, in Community Board 8. As I said, the sheer size and scale of Barclays Center makes it unique. 18,000 patrons right across 6th Avenue from a dozen or so residential blocks in our district. The parking facility, which is dedicated to this, is squarely within our district. And there are no intervening barriers such as Flatbush Avenue or Atlantic Avenue or subway stations into which the foot traffic will siphon off as they would heading toward the districts 2 and 6. We therefore felt it was necessary to come here tonight to define the problem as we see it and to suggest some solutions that your honors could implement. As you said, this is the arena is a fait accompli. The problem is one of how to manage the risks that come with this arena. As I said, we are a residential neighborhood, yet every Barclays Center event will funnel foot traffic of perhaps thousands of people through our residential neighborhoods. This is compounded by the fact that this will be routinely at night, late at night often. This will be 220 times a year, and we do not have sidewalks or street facilities that are sufficient to this burden that is already being imposed on us. Even if this foot traffic were stone cold sober, Your Honor, this is already a heavy burden that we face and a disruption of quality of life that runs the risk of noise, litter, rowdiness, and even, frankly, crime. And if this crowd is less than sober, that risk of disruption and misbehavior is heightened even more. And this is in a neighborhood that is not equipped and is never asked to bear this risk. And we add to the fact that we have a parking lot in our district dedicated for this arena, and we're asking patrons who may or may not be entirely sober, and I understand the security checkpoints that we've heard about, asking them to not only walk a block and a half to this parking lot, but then get in the car and drive through our district. We do not take that risk of drunk or impaired driving lightly, Your Honors. We don't envision lawlessness. We hope that the security plan will help control the scenario, but we do envision regular late-night disturbances by these crowds to our quality of life and a heightened risk based on alcohol consumption. The bottom line for you is that the SLA can play a role in managing this risk. The earlier the patrons stop consuming alcohol, the soberer they will be when they leave, and the soberer when they leave, the better behaved they will be when they walk through our streets at night. We want sober patrons, we want to minimize the risk of disruption, and we feel an early cutoff time best minimizes that. We have some suggested strategies. The cutoff time for alcohol sales at all points of service within Barclays Center should be early. Why not 10 p.m.? We, again, have not reviewed the application. We're not making that comment, but...
I'm going to interrupt you a second. This is going to go to the authorities. additional information and documentation you have before I conclude this hearing, I'm going to give an address that it could be sent to.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And also, there's a very, very good chance that once this comes on the calendar for the full board, the chairman might request additional input. So keep that in mind to additionally make your point. The points you're making now have been made by Mr. Bailey,
Absolutely.
Mr. Pulo, both residents of your area and residents of buildings that are close, and it's understood the significance of it. I really hate to cut you short on this. Your letter states everything. That's what the authority needs. But we're getting to a point where the same issue is coming up, and
it is a big issue.
The state liquor authority is very, very well aware of it. We all live in a place, we all want peace and quiet in our neighborhoods, and again, public interest, as I stated before, is country, state, city, borough. People have spoken to it, and what is in the public interest, and your input, the input of your, I don't know if I call them constituents or fellow neighbors, whatever, is wanted by the authority knows it and understands it, but unless there's something additional, it's the point being made that additional late service of alcohol exacerbates whatever problem exists, whether the facility has a liquor license or not.
Certainly, we would just make one or two more suggestions.
Okay.
Again, an early cutoff time, but also uniformity across all points of service. From our perspective, it doesn't matter whether, if there's service at any point of service in the building till whatever time, that the risk to disruption and misbehavior in our neighborhood does not lessen until all the points of service have stopped serving. We would request uniformity by that. We would also request uniformity by event. We want a hard time that we can rely on. Whenever Barclays Center has an event, we know that by X o'clock, regardless of the type of event, that we know that the service will be cut off and that the risk thereafter will diminish.
And 2 a.m. is not that time.
In my personal opinion, and in the opinion of our board, it is not that time.
And the time which would be appropriate in your opinion?
Again, we declined to, as a board, we didn't think it was fair to peg a time, having now heard the application. But
2 a.m. is no. So
yeah.
You consider that fair?
Excuse me, there's a reference to 10 p.m. in your memo. What is
we referred to our constituent, the Dean Street Block Association, which brought this to our attention.
Is that the one that analogizes it to Wrigley Field?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and they say a 10 p.m. cutoff.
And that's well documented in Mr. Bailey's
and I believe there'll be
testimony,
presenters here tonight for that, from that association.
I'm sorry?
I believe there are presenters here tonight from that
They've
association.
already presented it, and their testimony is on record. Unless they have something entirely different, I will take their submission. I will not hear their testimony again.
We just feel that residents need their sleep more than patrons need an extra drink.
That is well understood, and that point is adequately made by you and others, and the chairman is well aware of it, and I will pass that on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Time to come here and giving your input.
My pleasure.
It is appreciated. Thank you.